You were going to talk to us all about learning to have a budget and save money during Christmas, because a lot of people experience a lot of financial stress during the Christmas season.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. People just kind of go overboard and more than what they anticipate, right? They plan the season a lot differently, and then, by January, they just find that it's kind of gotten out of control more than that they're able to handle. So.
Right. Well, I appreciate you being here because I have a lot of anxiety. Like John has been joking about, I really have not purchased one Christmas gift as of yet. And so I kind of wait till the last minute, and then I'm just like, I just want to get this done, so I'm going to purchase whatever. It doesn't matter the cost. And then I find that I'm in a really big funk later on when my credit card statement comes in. So
exactly.
You have some recommendations for ways that we can save our wallet during the Christmas season.
Yeah,
so walk us
definitely.
through some of those.
Well, that's the first thing, is knowing how you spend money. So for example, yeah, exactly. I'm
a prime example is what you're saying.
Well, that you know yourself, right? That is so important, that you know how you spend money. If you happen to be on the saving side and you find that might even limit your generosity, it's good to be aware of that. Or if you are a last minute kind of spontaneous shopper and just get it over with, then that also is fantastic to know, because you need to know where to start, right? And how to kind of guide your spending, right? On which side that you kind of need to go for. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's
one thing I guess I need to learn. I need to learn about myself and how I spend. But here's one thing. I mean, I am pretty good at saving money throughout the year. It's just during Christmas. Is that typical for a lot of people?
You know what? It's however people handle their money, right? It's usually habitual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's you're going to be always spontaneous if that's kind of makes any sense. But yeah, so people who are saving on the saving side, they do tend to be better savers.
Well,
and
that's not the case for me. So, anyways, I need to work on that. So you also say we need to set some goals for Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah. So even take a look as a family, sit down with your spouse or with your kids and find out what they really want to get out of Christmas this time. I know for me and my family, we just really want to bring home, Jesus, and all our generosity that we feel comes from his love for us. And we really want our little girls to know that and go out into the world and know that that's why they give, is because what God's done for them.
But one of the things that I think is important that we talk about is that it's not necessarily about the gifts that you give. You can, like you said, be like Jesus and serve during the Christmas season, and those are memories that you'll remember forever.
Right. And if that's one of your priorities, is that you do give of your time or give, for causes that need attention, right? Think about that as your priority, and then you can kind of go from there. So have everything else flow out of that goal, right? So that you know what direction you want to go to.
Okay, well, build a budget. I know that that's another tip that you're going to talk to us about. I need all the help I can get.
Yes, and if you haven't done that, I strongly suggest that you do that as soon as possible. And what I mean by build a budget is that you have a set amount of money and you know where that money is going to go, where you want it to go. Something helpful might be taking a look at last year's Christmas bills, perhaps. Get your credit card statements out, get your bank account, and see what you've actually spent opposed to what you think you're going to spend. So getting an accurate picture of where your finances are going to go at Christmas. And then what you can do after you've kind of built that budget, and again, remember things like, gifts for your pastor at Christmas time, things that traveling cost for going to, if you have to go.
Extra costs that you don't necessarily think about when you're kind of building out that budget.
Right. And you have to take that into consideration, or else you're going to overspend and it's going to be a surprise for you in January. So definitely take a look at where your money, where it's going to go.
Okay, and prioritize your list. That's kind of the same as building your budget.
Right. So then, the things, as you're building your list, the things at the end of the list are not going to be as important, right? You're going to kind of evaluate why you're making these purchases. Are they purchases out of guilt? Are they purchases because you really think you're blessing somebody with that? And that's fantastic. But really kind of evaluate your heart behind those purchases. And, if you have to get your neighbor a present because they've gotten you a present. Like, kind of think about why it is you're doing that.
And so what do you do? What if your neighbor what if John Hull comes over and gives me 5 minutes with Jesus? What do I do? Do I give out of guilt?
No, so you know what? It's good to have clear communication, right? With people giving your gifts. So, for example, my parents love to, give gifts to my kids. And I'm kind of releasing them from that and saying, you know what? They would rather spend time with you, have a sleepover with you, go out for coffee with you, have a Tim Hortons date kind of thing, rather than just buying gifts, because that is not what those kids remember, right? It's going to be those times of baking pierogies or cakes or whatever, right? It's those things that are most important, and so that's what my kids want from
I love
them.
that,
Yeah.
memories. That's what I remember about growing up. I remember sitting, doing all of these things with my family. We would adopt a family to be able to give back. So that's what is most, I don't remember what I got for when I was 7 years old for Christmas.
Exactly.
Another one of your tips is use cash instead of credit cards.
Right. So this can be, not everybody loves this idea just because, there's so many benefits to having credit cards, but it really does save you a ton of money. If you're able to take that cash out weekly or monthly and kind of divvy it up, right, and into those priority categories. So if you have, your first priority, your kids, your parents, and have a set amount in that envelope for them, and then kind of divvy that out from that point on.
And
really
take the
important.
exact amount of cash.
Right.
Because you're always kind of, if you have more cash, I'm probably going to spend it, right?
Exactly, most definitely. And it kind of prevents you from being a little bit more extravagant than you anticipated, and just do research online, right? Look at how much that item is going to cost, and then go with the exact amount of cash, exactly.
Right, and compare prices, because I'm sure that just because you find it here for this price does not mean that you can't get it for cheaper somewhere else.
Exactly.
Right. And being content, tell me what this means.
Well, often, we think about Philippians, and Paul, he knew what it was like to be content with plenty and with little, right? And it's that kind of balance in our own lives that we really need to be thankful for what we have, right? God has blessed us with exactly enough. And so really taking that and being satisfied with what God has given you, and kind of not trying to think about the more, or how that might feel, but really just being content with what you do have.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great advice. And it's not too late to start planning for next year.
No, start now.
So how do we do that? How do we start planning?
Right. So Christians Against Poverty has a CAP Money course that is available through the local church. And that is just a 3-week course that you can go on to start learning what it means to build a budget. And you can start planning and saving and learning how to spend wisely, which is all fantastic for you to be able to give more when it comes to Christmas time and not have it be such a stressful.
Yes, I love that you're directing. You can do this. Yay!
Yes, you can do it.
I'm learning so much already.
Good.
So I know that CAP does a lot more than just talking about Christmas and saving money. What are the consequences of spending too much during the Christmas season? How does that affect the rest of your year?
Right. So if you're needing to work out, so if you are having to use a credit card during this season, which it does happen for a lot of us, then we do have ways to manage your debt. If you have gone beyond your means and you're not able to pay back that debt, depending on your situation, life circumstances, then we are here to help. We definitely have systems in place with CAP to kind of work through that debt and manage that debt. And that's through professional debt counseling and our financial education course. So those are key to helping you guys get.
When we're learning about all of this, I think it's key to really know the root of it and what's causing it so that we can identify it. So what is it that is pressuring us into spending more money?
It can come from a number of different things. It could be how you grew up in your family, right, and how your family handled money, and that's often translated to you in your life now, right, or myself. And recognizing that is so important to change, right? If you want to make a difference, if you want to change how you're spending, if you don't feel like you're generous enough with your money, then recognizing that and taking steps to just educate yourself, right, and make those necessary changes. And you're just on a continuum, right? Nobody's going to be perfect at handling their money, but if you're making steps to improve how you handle your money, then you know what, that's amazing.
Right, and also advertisements, I think, because they're kind of like all day pushing this. You need to get this for your kids. They'll be really happy if you give them these gifts. And that's not what it's about. Christmas is about celebrating our Lord and Jesus Christ and his birth. And so I just appreciate so much, Jolene, that you came on and you taught me so much. I'm going to be calling you for more help as I go and have to purchase these gifts for John, since he's trying to encourage me to do that. So thank you, Jolene, for taking your time.